next recipe really speaks to my childhood. The good parts of my childhood, that is. It's Plutter. Plutter is a Swedish pancake that in my family we got to have a couple times a year. Rogers and Hammerstein's Cinderella and Wizard of Oz would come on. It was always on a Sunday night at 7 o'clock by Walt Disney, and on those nights we had breakfast for dinner, and I always requested Plutter. So a couple times a year my parents drug out their Plutter pan and pluttered away. So let's do it. The first thing you do when you make Plutter is you season your Plutter pan. That's really important, and as with cast iron, you should always season it. So I just take a little bit of vegetable oil, and I just took a napkin and I rub it in. Just rub it all around. Your first batch of Plutter doesn't always come out so stellar, so don't be worried. You can throw it away, give it to the dog, give it to the cat, or in my case, give it to the kids. No worries. Okay, so they say you're not supposed to wash cast iron, you're only supposed to season it. I disagree. I actually wash it and season it, but you know, whatever. Okay, there you go. Seasoned pan. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do is take 4 eggs and beat them well. Okay, got 4 eggs. You can use a handheld mixer for this. I've even seen people use blenders for it. But for today, we're going super old school, and we're just gonna use, this is actually my grandmother's beater. So you wanna give those eggs a real good beating. Not too long. Just whip it up. All right, there you go. Have this thing fall. You do pinch of salt, pinch of salt. I love sea salt. I buy sea salt in bulk. Now, if we were in France, gloriously, sea salt would be like $2. Here it's like 10, but it's worth it. It is well worth it. Okay, then we're gonna add half a cup of sugar, okay? Half a cup of sugar. Two cups milk. Beat that all in there. 2 cups milk. All right, we're looking good. And now I've melted 3/4 of a cup of butter, okay? That's really important. We've got the butter and the flour. That's our last step, and then believe it, we're ready to rock and roll. That's how quickly you can make Plutter. Okay, so I've melted my butter on the stove. You want to put it in a thin stream. You might want to go a little slower than what I did, but no worries. And now what we're going to do is add scamp flour. This is 1 cup flour. You don't want to overpower it and put it all in at one time. Making Plutter can be kind of a messy thing, so don't worry about it. My butter is typically warm when I mix it in. And the thing about the flour is you just don't want lumps in it. I can totally remember when I was growing up smelling the Plutter. You can kind of smell it, and it's like the butter on the pan and sort of that sizzle, and it just melts in your mouth. It's sort of like a light and delicious crepe, but it's not crispy. As a French crepe is crispy, kind of brown on the outside. This is almost more of a custard. It's like a set custard. And my demi-glazes that I made the other day go on top of this, along with a little powdered sugar and whatever wickedness you want. And old school, they put lingonberry, Swedish lingonberry. Of course, it's hard to find a lingonberry these days. Okay, so here you have it. That's what the batter looks like. And let's see. Oh yeah, that's good. You could basically drink this. You could basically like put it in your shoe and drink it out of your shoe, and your shoe would taste good. That's how good this stuff is. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over and cook it. I typically use just like a measuring cup to pour it in. You want just a very thin layer and let it bubble along. Okay, now we're ready to cook our Plutter. You just dip it in. You don't want to fill it too full. You just want a nice little pour in there, covering the bottom. Yet again, it's one of those things that's kind of all in the feel of it. Not too much, not too little. Just like Goldilocks. And then you kind of see where you're at in terms of your pan. You can see it, the little bubbles starting. This pan probably, you don't want to start with a really hot cast iron, but it's kind of like when you make a pancake. You know how when you make that first pancake always is not the best pancake. Sometimes that first pancake is it's a thrower. It can be like that with Plutter. If you're really lucky and the sun and the moon and the stars are perfectly aligned, your first batch of Plutter will be amazing. But it isn't always, so don't be worried about it. Oh, you can kind of see now. See how it's starting to bubble up there a little bit? See? All right. There we go. Look at that baby. Okay? This is what I call one of those hands-on dishes. Don't be afraid to get in there. You might burn yourself, but it's all right. Okay? Plutter's one of those things that if you haven't made it for a while, it comes back to you pretty quick. There you go. If I'm making it for a large group, I'll put some tin foil on top so they can, and put it in the oven just on a very, very low warm heat so they can have an opportunity to stay warm and not overcook. Because I gotta tell you, once you start making this stuff, nobody will let you stop. You will be here at your Plutter pan for 42 hours straight if you let them. So it's nice to make a little, have it like going so you can give everybody a bite. So typically what we do in my family with the Plutter is serve it with a demi-glace and a little brown sugar. If you really want to be evil and wicked, you can put butter on it, but you really don't need more butter on it because it's like butter. Okay, this is like butter in solid form. Okay, now comes the best part. You get to eat it. Yes. This is what I did. Take a little Plutter. On this one, I'm going to put a little raspberry. And you do a little powdered sugar. Actually, when you're serving it, it's kind of cool to serve it with a little powdered sugar on it. Wow. Sometimes I completely amaze myself. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Remember, I'm Suzanne, and gloriosity is a lifestyle choice. Make it.